Hi. Some of you may remember me, and some of you may remember the band that I used to be in. We were called Her Curse Words. We played a lot of shows in the West Midlands, in the metal scene, and we ended up branching out further across the whole UK to do shows here and there just to try and push ourselves more and be the iconic metal band that we so desperately wanted. There were some undiscussed problems with what we were trying to do and has led us to this point. I'm here to tell you pretty much what happened. Hercus Words started in late 2012, and before we went by a few other names such as Cradle to the Grave and Sephiya Skies, until we ended up kind of deciding we wanted to go down that metalcore route, like Asking Alexandria and Of Mice and Men and so on and so forth. And we ended up coming with Her Curse Words, and we stuck with that. The band was started whilst we were in school, and it was primarily started by me, and I enlisted the help of my friend Kyle, who became the drummer, to then find more members and find more people that we wanted to help play with us. Through several member changes and getting to know people and learn who fit with us, we finally ended up with a set lineup with what we had was myself, Kyle, Joey, Charlie, and also Charlie. We were signed to a small local record label in 2013 known as Mass Records, or MAS, which helped us record 4 songs which allowed us to push ourselves further onto the music scene. That went on to be Sincerity. In 2015, after our contract with Mass Records had finished, we independently went into the recording studio again to record a 7-song album which would release in later 2017. However, those songs were never properly released, and here's the story as to why. This is a disclaimer. This is not a witch hunt or an attack on the producer or any of the people that we worked with. I will not be mentioning their name as I don't want there to be any action taken from this. What's done is done, and what's in the past is in the past. In 2015, we went into the studio and signed a contract for recording, mixing, and mastering a 7-song album for an undisclosed fee. We had arranged for an up-and-coming guest vocalist to feature on the album and help drive our promotion of the album cycle. Just before we went into the studio, our bassist, Charlie, had announced that he would be leaving us to focus on projects of his own, and we gave him all of the support that we could and wished him well. We'd worked a lot in the studio. We'd written the songs prior to going in, but were advised on certain musical changes and directions, which I appreciate most of all made the song sound better and more full in a recorded space. When we were nearing the end of the recording time, we needed to work on a few more vocal sections just to help push the songs and make them better. When we were nearing the end of the recording process, we were in need of re-recording a few sections of vocals. However, if we wanted to do this with this studio, we were told that we would have to pay an extra fee on top of what we would already agreed upon. Furthering this decision, we enlisted the help of another producer to book us in for a day session just to get these few lines of vocals down and push our songs to the very end for the mixing and mastering process. From this point, we were sent rough mixes of the songs so that we could listen to and we could decide whether we wanted sections changed, anything brought forward, anything dropped back, if we wanted to see if anything was missing, or just overall the final touches. This had happened a few times, but we never received what we thought or believed were the final mixes. And looking back at these tracks, nearly 10 years later, there are still parts which are missing, and the mixes between each song sound non-consistent. We did end up silently releasing the album on Bandcamp in November 2017, but there was no promotion, there were no gigs, no publicity. We weren't happy or proud with what we ended up with, and in a way, it sat in silence behind closed doors. However, That being said, I'm going to release the album Dancing for Royalty on all platforms for you to listen to and enjoy. It's hard making this decision as it's not the final product that we had promised or we wanted to release, but I find now it's much better being out there in the world rather than hidden in a folder on our computers, never to be seen. From this experience, all these pushbacks in time, and also just growing up as young adults, we ended up not rehearsing, not writing, and moving on to other aspects of life. For myself, I focused on myself and getting through the rough time in my life due to issues within my own family. Charlie, our guitarist, went off to university and furthered his knowledge in the music industry. Joey had to move away due to unforeseen circumstances, and Kyle went into full-time work. The combination of these factors meant that we weren't able to be the band that we used to be, and our drive to thrust ourselves into this industry dwindled due to these experiences. We'd all like for anyone who watches this or listens to this to learn from our mistakes. Take this not as a word of warning, but as a lesson in doing the research, making sure that you know the contracts that you're getting into with brands, producers, publishers, and just learn from our own mistakes as a young metal band wanting to make it big. We'd worked with promoters who didn't promote us or book shows, essentially scammed us. We'd worked with bands and other musicians that made it harder for us to grow within the local scene. We worked with producers that never gave us a finished product and in turn left us in a state of unannounced hiatus. I'm now here to officially announce that Her Curse Words is no more. This is also an official statement of our disbanding. Now, though, you can find a few of us doing different things. Joey is in a hardcore band known as Dead Mob, which you can find in the links in the description. Charlie had joined a band called Colosseums and helped push them further with their writing. You can also find links to their music in the description as well. As for myself, I've spent the last few years building a home setup and practicing on my writing and my capabilities of recording and delving into the other aspects of musical genres. Not only that, but I've also helped other friends and people with their projects, and I am going to be releasing some music of my own later on this year in 2023. With all that being said, I would like to take the opportunity to thank everyone who has ever listened to our music, who has ever supported us online, who has ever come to see us live on a show or sung along with the music that we had made. It really meant the world to us, and we would love to see your support in all of our future ventures. For now, I have been Jarvis, and thank you for taking the time to watch this video.